All right, guys, I'm pretty excited to talk to you today about what I like to call passive arm syndrome. Yes, it is a syndrome. It is an affliction, literally an affliction that 80% of golfers have, where they think and believe that they need to square the club face with their body, essentially pivot the golf club, leave their arms at the start line, and magically the club face is going to square up. It's hugely problematic. Hugely problematic. It slows the club head down. It makes it very, very difficult to find your low point in many, many respects. And of course, the club face control is an absolute disaster. If we don't have educated wrists, it makes it very, very difficult for us to understand in space and time where the club head is. That proprioception, which is so incredibly important. Now, this is going to be particularly important for you senior golfers, okay? If you're a little bit older, I'm 53, 54 coming up. We're losing speed as we get older, guys. If you don't use those fast twitch muscle fibers effectively, you're trying to square the club up with your body. You're noticing probably over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, your club speed is going down and down and down and down. It just keeps dropping and you're hitting it further and further to the right. It's almost like the harder you swing, the shorter you hit it. Nothing more frustrating than that. Yes, you do indeed suffer with PAS, P-A-S, passive arm syndrome. So I'm here with a cure, okay? You use your wrists, you use your arms to brush your teeth, to make your coffee, to eat your breakfast, to drive your car. Pretty much everything you do in life except what? Yes, you're playing golf like this. This is how you're playing golf. Seriously, expecting to create speed. Of course, that's not how it works. So we're going to talk about how to educate your wrists and arms. Trail arm, lead arm, of course, is the one closest to the target. Trail arm, incredibly important. Creating good structure at the top of the backswing. Putting the golf club in a position where it can fall in front of us freely and uninhibited. We've got our wrists, we've got our lower arm, we've got our upper arm. We start with the trail arm. We have to hinge the golf club, okay? The trail wrist hinge back on itself. Just like this, it moves towards the lower arm. All we do is literally hinge to start the backswing. So we're going to have this look in the first move away. Of course, the arms are moving a little bit, but it's very, very important to get that club working up a little bit earlier because we need to sequence our backswing. We've got to make sure the club head, our arms, and our body meet their destination back here pretty much at the same time, which is hard, right? Because the club head's traveling a lot further than the body. So the idea that you need to have this one-piece takeaway, for those of you that struggle with letting everything collapse behind you at the top, I think it's important to get this club head moving a little faster early. Okay, so there's my wrist hinging back on itself. And then what we want to do is allow the lower arm to fold, okay? So it's going to move towards the upper arm. And then the last thing, of course, the upper arm is going to elevate. So we've got kind of a hinge, a fold, and an elevation, all right? And that's that elevation that's going to get us in a position where we can start to de-elevate. So when we're working the arms up and down, a little bit like an elevator in a building, that helps us create a lot of arm speed, which is what most of you are lacking. And your ability to decelerate that arm speed is really what creates energy in the club head. We accelerate the arms, we start to decelerate the arms, and then of course the club head gets thrown out. So if you're spinning your body back to the ball at the same speed as your arms, your body's going to meet its destination too early and you're going to be forced to throw the club out early. For those of you that are really, really struggling and missing it shorter and shorter and missing it further to the right, keep your upper body back and get your arms working down faster. I can't stress the importance of that. I've talked about a lot of this. Just go ahead and surf the channel. There's tons and tons of videos on this. So we've got this position now where we're kind of boxed up at the top of the backswing. We've got some really good arm structure here. You can see my arms are in a really good position. The key here, once we get this structure at the top of the backswing, is to make sure, okay, that we do the opposite as we change direction. So rather than going to the top of your backswing and either leaving the club here and driving the lower body forward, which tips the shoulders and drops the club behind you, you know who you are, pushes and hooks, fat shots and thin shots, or going to the top of your backswing, it's the same, but it's a little different, and spinning your body, okay, leaving your arms at the start line. Those are the guys that start the ball way to the left and normally hit slices. That's the vast majority of you. What we've got to do is maintain our body structure as we change direction. So we're not leveraging the club early with the body. And that's what I need you to understand. The body's role as we change direction is to be pretty passive initially, all right? There's nothing wrong with tying your arms to your body as you swing through the golf ball. I totally get it. The body plays a role. But most of you are overactive with either your pelvis or your thoracic segment very early in the transition. You're not allowing this trail arm, okay, to de-elevate. Look at the upper arm. All right, it's going to do the opposite to what happened on the way back. The upper arm is going to drop. The trail arm is going to start to straighten. All right, and then of course I'm going to go from radial to ulnar deviation. I'm going to allow the golf club to start to release. So many of you, unfortunately, pinning, spinning, and trying to create forward shaft lean and lag. How's that working for you guys? It is a nightmare, right? A lot of blocks, a lot of shanks. It just makes things worse is what I see, especially with people that come down and work with me. There's so many misconceptions. So what we want to do here is we want to get this golf club essentially, look at my arm drop, okay? We want to get this golf club swinging a little bit more freely, okay? Just like this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep my upper body facing you as my arms drop, all right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the butt end of the golf club right here. I'm going to get it moving back towards me, all right? So from face on, rather than me trying to drag the grip forward and maintain forward shaft lean, I'm going to allow this golf club to work back towards me at the point of collision. All right, so here we go. Here's my release. Butt end of the club moves towards me and then changes direction. All right, and that is how we want to use our wrists and our arms in our golf swing. If you don't use your wrists and arms effectively, you will not create very much club head speed. I can pretty much guarantee you the longest hitters in the world, they use their arms a lot in their golf swing. They also use the ground and interact with their body. Of course, tremendous amount of force is created out of the ground. But a lot of you that watch this video, no one's talking about this, aren't able to create energy kinematically from your feet to the club head. All right, it makes it difficult. If you lack mobility, if you lack strength, all right, there's got to be a better way for you aging athletes, right? If you're a little bit older. The problem you have is if you've never ever really learned to actuate your wrists and swing your arms, and then your body fails you, you know, what do you have left, right? You got nothing, all right? You've got passive arm syndrome, all right? So let's get rid of that syndrome. This is the pill. This is the medicine, okay? So I'm going to start with my feet together. I learned this when I was a kid. My dad taught me this drill. Very straightforward. So my trail wrist is going to fold back on itself. My lower arm is going to start to fold. And then we're going to add a little elevation. And then you can see here, my hands are sort of above my heel line. My golf club is leveraged. I'm ready to go the other way, all right? Feet together. Let's go ahead and clip a couple out there. That is terrific. Cannot do too many of these. Again, one more time. So when I start my downswing here, this is the feel I have. I'm not driving my pelvis towards the golf ball. I'm not sliding my hips forward. I'm not spinning my shoulders back to the golf ball. All I'm doing, right, is keeping my back to the target and allowing my arms to de-elevate, and I'm allowing the butt end of the golf club. At this point right in here, I'm going to start to move the butt end of the golf club back towards me. That's my squaring mechanism. I'm not leaving the club here and then spinning to get the club caught up to my body. All right, I don't want your arms trying to catch up to your body. This is what you're struggling with, okay? This is the concept that's causing the problems. What I want here is, rather than the arms try to catch up with the body, okay, I want the body catching up to your arms. You heard it first, all right? Arms catch up to your body is a huge problem. We need body catching up to arms, all right? This is the feel. This is the feel, all right? Let's go ahead and get those arms swinging a little faster now. Can't hit it better than that. All right, so I really feel my arms there swinging past my body rather than trailing. All right, when I'm trailing, I've got all sorts of challenges, because now I'm forced to release the club right at the golf ball, coming in wide open, and I'm going to try and shut it closed at impact. We don't want that, okay? What we want to do here is we want to square the club face a lot early. We need to prepare the golf club sooner, all right? This is where your wrist education is incredibly important. I took a lesson with Brian Manzella at the PGA show a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to stick that in the end screen. For those of you that want to watch, just go to the end. I'm going to stick the lesson in there. It was very interesting because my club face gets a little too open at the top of the backswing, a little too extended or cupped, but I do a really good job of getting rid of that extension, kind of stripping it and getting flexed at impact. Hit the ball pretty solidly, no question, but Brian wanted me to prepare the face a lot sooner, right? So make sure my lead wrist is a little flatter, and he made a wonderful point. I couldn't agree with him more. Most golfers don't get their lead wrist close to flat enough as they swing a golf club. There's too much cupping or extension in the lead wrist. We have a lot of internal rotation with the trail shoulder, a lot of cupping, which makes it terribly hard to square the club face. So what we want to understand here is we get to the top of the backswing, try and make sure here that when you hinge this wrist, okay, it hinges back, all right, towards this arm, okay? We don't hinge so much up and down as we hinge sort of up and back, all right? What that does, it sets the trail wrist a little bit more underneath the handle of the golf club. Can you see that? So now the trail hand's pointing a little bit more up, which means the lead wrist is a lot better prepared to square the face as you hit it. That was my challenge. He really helped me in my swing. My first golf lesson in 10 years. It was actually a lot of fun. So check that out. So when I get to the top of my backswing, what I'm making sure I do here is my arms drop. I'm making sure I don't add extension in my lead wrist because that gets the club face wide open. Look at the back of my lead wrist, guys. It's pointing up. I'm going to make sure my lead wrist is flat. So you can see I'm adding a little twist here. Look at the club face here. It's starting to turn back towards the golf ball. What we're able to do from there, guys, I'm able to square the club very easily. If you're coming into the golf ball, your lead wrist is pointing up. Look at the toe of the club. If it's pointing up right here, just before impact, the odds of you squaring that up in time are going to be very challenging. So, to get rid of passive arm syndrome, engage the arms early, stall the spin phase, keep your back to the target. How about one more drill? A little trail foot back combination with feet together, okay? All right, so feet pretty close together, trail foot back. Let's create a pocket behind us for those arms, okay? Do exactly the same thing. Do a little combo drill here, all right? So feet pretty close together, trail foot back. I'm gonna do the same thing. Look at the arms dropping. All right, now, little added bonus here. Look at my club face. Toe of the club starting to tip forward a little bit. What I don't have is the toe dragging behind the heel. I see that all the time in this position at last parallel, back of the left hand pointing up. So really start to turn those knuckles back to the ball around maybe waist high with the iron. And the driver, when your arms are dropping from back here with the driver, feel like it's around chest high that you start to, if you like, turn those lead knuckles down. That is a great little tip, okay? And get rid of that PAS. All right, let's go ahead and hit one here. Oh, love that. Once you've done the feet together and trail foot back, that combination, and you really start to feel your arms and wrists working more freely, the goal here, okay, is for your arms to employ your body. It's an odd feeling when you first do it. Most of you, again, are trying to use your pivot to square the club face. Good luck with that. That is a real challenge, especially for you seniors. What we want to do here is almost feel like the arms, okay, are swinging past us and pulling us through the golf ball. Your arms employ your body catches up to your arms. This is the proprioception, okay? Is your mind's ability to feel what your body's doing without using your eyes. It's what I like to call the feel sequence. It's not what we're doing, it's what we're feeling, all right? When I throw a ball, I've got good kinematic sequence. I look, if you slow it down, I look like that. This is the last thing that's happening. But when I throw the ball, all I'm thinking about is using my wrist and my arm and then tossing it. My body is responding, all right? Think about that for a second. Very interesting concept. So for those of you that are struggling with passive arm syndrome, hopefully this is just the medicine you need. If you think this could help someone, go ahead and share. If you have any comments, always get back to people. And I really want to thank everyone for subscribing and pressing that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. Couldn't do this without you guys, so get after it. We'll talk to you soon.